Hello everyone and welcome to Python and Machine Learning for Finance course. First, I would like to thank you all for enrolling in this course. I hope you will find the course useful, exciting, practical, and informative. My name is Ryan Ahmed. I'm a professor and best-selling Udemy instructor. My teaching style is to simplify complex concepts and deliver them in a practical, easy, and fun way. I have taught over 100,000 students online from over 160 countries. So let's answer some key questions that you might have. The first question is, why Python? Python ranks as the #1 programming language in the world. Here are some reasons to learn Python. First, Python is extremely easy to understand. High salary. The average Python programmer in the US makes around $116,000 a year, which is pretty great given how easy it is to learn the programming language. Third is scalability. It's true, Python is easy to learn, but it's also extremely powerful. But it's also an extremely powerful language that can help you create top-tier apps. In fact, Google, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify are all built using Python. Fourth is versatility. Python is by far the most versatile programming language in the world. Python is used for web development, data science, machine learning, computer vision, data analysis and visualization, scripting, gaming, and many, many more. The next question is, what are we going to learn in this course? This course is divided into 3 main parts. The first part, I will explain the fundamentals of Python programming language. We will cover conditional statements. We'll also cover loops, functions, files, NumPy, pandas, and interactive data visualization also, using Matplotlib, Seaborn, and Plotly libraries. In part number 2, we will learn how to perform financial analysis using Python. We will cover several key concepts in finance, such as analyzing stocks' risk and return, performing portfolio optimization, running Monte Carlo simulations, and perform asset allocation. We will also cover key concepts such as Sharpe ratio, the efficient frontier, and the capital asset pricing model, or CAPM for short. We will also cover trading strategies such as momentum-based and moving average trading strategies. And finally, in part number 3, we will cover practical projects on artificial intelligence and machine learning applications in finance. We will cover applications of deep neural networks, such as long short-term memory networks, or LSTM networks for short, to perform stock price predictions. In addition, we will cover unsupervised machine learning strategies, such as k-means clustering algorithm and principal component analysis technique, to perform banking customer segmentation, or clustering. Furthermore, we will cover the basics of natural language processing, or NLP for short, and apply it to perform stocks sentiment analysis. So the next question is, do I need a PhD to succeed in this course? Definitely not. We will introduce the theory and intuition without any intimidating mathematics, so we'll keep it simple and to the point. We have designed the course to be practical and easy to understand. So after introducing any concept, we added several mini challenges and practical exercises along the way. So I will ask you guys to pause the video and attempt to solve the mini challenge on your own. Then we will have a detailed video explanation with complete solutions. The next question is, who is this course for? The course is targeted towards financial analysts who want to harness the power of data science and AI to optimize business processes, maximize revenue, and reduce cost. Python programmer beginners wanting to gain a fundamental understanding of Python and data science, wanting to understand the fundamentals of programming and data science applications to finance and banking industries. Investment bankers and financial analysts wanting to advance their careers, build their data science portfolio, and gain real-world practical experience. And the last question is, what the course prerequisites are. There is no prior experience required. Even if you have never used Python or any programming language before, don't worry. We will have a clear video explanation for each of the topics we will be covering. We will start from the basics and gradually build up your knowledge. And that's all I have. Again, thank you so much for enrolling in this course, and let's get started with the first lecture. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lecture. First, I would like to thank you all for enrolling in this course. I hope you will find the course useful and informative. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the first lecture. So here is the agenda for this lecture. First, we are going to cover where to find the course material, and then I'm going to show you guys a quick walkthrough through the course material, and then we will learn how to succeed in this course. What are the key tips that I recommend that you guys can essentially ensure successful completion of this course? What are the best practices to follow? And how to get help and ask questions if you guys get stuck? And finally, how to receive the certificate of completion. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with where to find the course material. Okay, so as you guys can see here, under the first section, which is under the course introduction, success tips, and key learning outcomes, you guys will find a lecture entitled Welcome Message, and you should be able to find resources, and you should be able to find a zip file entitled Python for Financial Analysis course package.zip. And essentially in this file, it contains everything we need. So it contains all the course solution notebooks. It also will gonna include the skeleton notebooks and also the dataset. Please note that I am going to have a detailed video lecture that covers what do I mean by notebook to start with, where are we going to write the code, how to download the tools and everything. It's coming up after in 2 lectures from here, but this is just after we finish the introductory lecture. I'm going to show you guys detailed video explanation into how to use these notebooks and how to download the data and everything. Here, I just want to show you where to find the data, okay? So if you guys wanted to see it here on Udemy, so if you guys go ahead in here, you should be able to find the course introduction, success tips, and key learning outcomes. So if you simply click on it, you should be able to find welcome message. Here I have my resources. You can just click on it, and here is essentially the zip folder that I mentioned. So please go ahead and just click on it and download it, okay? All right, so that's where to find the course material. Alternatively, what I added in here is the following. So basically for every single section, so for example, if you open variable assignment, math operation, and precedence, I try to include as well all the notebooks or all the codes for each of individual sections in the beginning. So alternatively, you guys will be able to find the solution and skeleton notebooks as an attached resources at the start of every section. So let me show you what do I mean by that. So if you guys go ahead back again to Udemy here, and if you open, let's say, one of these sections, for example, maybe open stocks, data analysis, and visualization, you should be able to find resources, again, at the beginning of every section. If you click on it, you should be able to find 2 notebooks. One of them is what we call the skeleton notebook, and the other one is the solution notebook. And I'm going to show you guys what do I mean by these 2 notebooks, but essentially you can just go ahead and click on the notebook right away, and it should open separately in here, okay? So this is just an alternative way of finding the data. Okay, so you guys can find the notebooks in here, all right? Okay, so let's go back. So let's go ahead and cover the course materials walkthrough. So as you guys can see here, what we're going to use is that we're going to use a tool offered by Google known as Google Colab or Google Colaboratory. And Google Colab is a super powerful tool because it enables us to essentially include everything in one place, in one stop shop, basically. So here is basically an example of one of the notebooks
which is entitled Capital Asset Pricing Model. And as you guys can see here, I was able to include the slides. So you will be able to find the slides in here embedded in the notebook. So this is one step. So all the slides are integrated in the Colab notebook. Also, you will be able to find the codes. So the code as well is written in the same notebook. And again, I'm going to have a detailed video explanation to walk you guys through how to even open it, how to write code in it, and so on. And you will find that in general, we divided all the case studies and projects into small manageable tasks. And finally, I have included several mini challenges and practice activities along the way. So I'm going to ask you guys to please go ahead, pause the video, and attempt to solve the mini challenge on your own. And then I'm going to have a detailed video explanation that walk you through the entire solution so you guys can compare your solution with my solution. Okay, all right. So let me go ahead and walk you through one of the Colab notebooks. So if you guys go ahead to here, to Udemy, and if you open, let's say, stock data analysis and visualization in Python, if you just click here on the resources, you should be able to find two files, essentially. One of them is the skeleton file, and the other one is the solution file. So if you open the skeleton here notebook, basically that's what we call it Google Colab, and you will find that here we have the slides are integrated in the notebook. We divided each of the projects into a series of manageable tasks. So you will find that here in task 1, we are going to cover the problem statement and project overview. And then here in task number 2, we will learn how to import, let's say, data sets and libraries. And please, again, don't worry about all these codes. We are going to cover them in great details when we go through the environment setup and at the beginning of each individual project. So as you guys can see here, if you scroll down, you will be able to find that there are many challenges along the way. So after I introduce any concept within any task, you will be able to find a mini challenge. So I'm going to ask you guys to pause the video and again attempt to solve the mini challenge on your own. So for example, I'm going to ask you, let's say, what is the average return of the S&P 500? What is the maximum price for Amazon stocks, for example? So it's a lot of hands-on, real-world projects, and we're going to actually be dealing with real-world stocks data as well. And if you guys scroll down here at the end of the notebook, you will be able to see at the end here all the mini challenges solutions. So all the mini challenges solutions here are included, but I highly recommend that you guys do not check the solution and attempt to solve the mini challenge on your own. And then you guys can go ahead, obviously, and just compare your solution with what we got in here. Okay? All right. And also, again, for every project, you will be able to find two notebooks. One of them is entitled Skeleton, and the other is the solution. So let me go ahead and open the solution. So this is the skeleton here, and here we have what we call it the solution. And just the difference between the two is that the solution notebook just contains everything. All the codes, everything is here. This is just the complete solutions, mini challenges, everything. However, for the skeleton file, you will be able to find, if you guys scroll down here, you will be able to find that there's a lot of code here that is missing. And that's the idea. Throughout the videos, I'm going to open these skeleton files and I'm going to write these codes from scratch. Okay? So I highly recommend that you guys start with the skeleton file and essentially code along with me. And that will be a lot more effective. So you guys will be able to learn by doing and just instead of passively watching the videos. Okay? So let's go back to our slides in here. So that concludes the course materials walkthrough. Okay? And the next tip is how to succeed in this course. So my recommendations is for projects, please go ahead and start with the Skeleton Colab notebook and code along with me while watching the video lectures. Again, that would be a lot more effective. And for mini challenges, please try to attempt to solve the mini challenge on your own. and then compare your answers with the solution notebook while watching the solutions video lecture. That would be a lot more effective. You guys will learn by doing, and you will master Python for financial analysis. Okay. The next point is, what are the best practices regarding video speeds? So you guys have a lot of options to play the lectures at various speeds. So if you guys go in here, you will be able to select either 1x or 1.25x or 1.5x. So if you guys think that maybe I speak a little bit too slow, you guys can go ahead and speed it up. If you think I speak maybe too fast, or maybe if your English is not your first language, I highly recommend that you guys maybe slow it down. So you will be able to change the video speeds here as you want. Okay. The next tip is regarding the video playback quality. So Udemy automatically optimizes video resolution based on your internet connection speed. So alternatively, what you guys could do is that you can go ahead and actually select and force specific resolution. So all course lectures have been filmed with HD quality 1080p. So you guys can go ahead and you should be able to find or see 1080p. So simply you will be able to see the videos at a high quality depending on your internet connection speed. Okay. The next question is how to reach out for help with Udemy platform issues. So we don't have any control over Udemy platform issues. So if you guys encounter any issues with Udemy platform, please go ahead and email them at their email, which is support@udemy.com, and they will be happy to help you out. The next question is, okay, what if you get stuck, for example, and you need help? Well, these are I would say, the 4 key steps that I recommend you guys follow. The first one is to check the lecture videos for answers. Step number 2, you search the previous Q&A. Most likely you will find that previous students might have asked similar questions, and we have already answered these questions. And then in step number 3, I highly recommend that you guys search Stack Overflow for error messages. So you can just copy any error message that you get, you can Google it, or you can open Stack Overflow and just search the error, and you will be able to find tons of solutions for you. And if that doesn't work, don't worry, please go ahead and post in the Q&A section, and our team will be super happy to help you out. But please, when you do that, try to include a screenshot of the error and lecture number so our team will help you out effectively. Okay, the last question is how to get the certificate of completion. So when you complete this course, you will receive a certificate of completion that you can share with other coworkers and potential employers. So when you finish all the curriculum items, when you basically finish all the video lectures and all the curriculum elements, you will see a green trophy like here that appears like that, and it will appear on the course dashboard indicating that the certificate of completion is ready for you. And you can just click on it and you should be able to see something like that with your name on it. And if you guys wanted to get more information, here is a link for Udemy support, and you should find a ton of information in there regarding how to obtain your certificate of completion. Okay. All right. So that's all I have for this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, thank you so much for enrolling in this course, and let's get started with the next lecture. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to cover the course outline, and we will also cover the key learning outcomes. So let's go ahead and get started with the course outline. So as you guys can see here, the course is divided into 3 main parts. Part 1 covers Python programming fundamentals. So we are going to assume that you guys don't have any prior experience with programming in the past. So we are going to start from the absolute basics. We are going to cover everything essentially related to programming. how to define variables, how to do math operations, what are the data types, how to do data visualization, and how to create for loops, while loops. We're going to learn how to do if conditions. And we are going to also learn how to leverage the power of Python libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. Okay, so that will be the first part of the course. And then for part 2 of the course, we are going to shift gears a little bit. And we are going to cover Python for financial analysis. So we're going to learn a lot about how to visualize stock financial data. We'll learn how to calculate Sharpe ratio. We'll learn about the capital asset pricing model, or CAPM. We'll learn how to do Monte Carlo simulations, and learn also how to plot the efficient frontier. So we will cover all these topics in great details in part number 2 of the course. And then in part number 3, we are going to cover machine learning and artificial intelligence applications in finance. So we will essentially cover 3 main projects. Each project is around, I would say, 2 hours of length, so it's actually quite intense projects. So we're going to learn how to do predictions for future stock prices. We'll also learn how to do unsupervised machine learning. We will also learn how to perform what we call it sentiment analysis on stock news data. So just by scanning news information, we will be able to predict sentiment of people essentially on various securities, such as stocks, bonds, and ETFs as well. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into each of these various parts. Okay. So let's go ahead and cover part 1. So for part number 1, which is Python 101 Programming Fundamentals, let me show you first, before we dig into the key learning outcomes, where you guys can find this. So if you guys go ahead to Udemy here, you should be able to see the entire course content on the right hand side here. Okay. So first, we are going to start with the course introduction, success tips, and key learning outcomes. So we are essentially right now in this section. And then here we have part 1, and that's Python Programming Fundamentals. And if you guys scroll down here, we are going to have part 2, and that's Python for Financial Analysis. And if you guys scroll down here, we have part 3, which is Machine and Deep Learning in Finance. And if you guys go ahead into part 1, you will see that we divided the entire part into series of sections. So section number 1, for example, we will cover variables assignment, math operation, and precedence. And then in the next section, we are going to cover data types, followed by comparison operators, logical operators, and conditional statements. We will also cover loops, functions, files, and then next, we are going to leverage super powerful Python libraries that we're going to use throughout the course. And these are NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib for data visualization. We will also learn how to visualize data using Seaborn library as well. Okay? All right. And then we are going to shift gears a little bit and cover part 2, which is on Python for financial analysis. We are going to cover how to perform data visualization, or specifically stock data visualization in Python. We'll learn how to do asset allocation and statistical data analysis. And then next, we will learn about the capital asset pricing model, or CAPM for short. And we are going to cover Monte Carlo simulations, portfolio optimization, and we're also going to cover trading using momentum and moving average strategies as well. And then finally, in part number 3 of the course, we are going to learn the applications of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning in finance. So we will cover essentially 3 main projects. The first project, we will learn how to predict stock future prices using machine learning and deep learning. And then in the next project, we are going to cover how to perform bank market segmentation using unsupervised machine learning strategies. And in the last project, we will learn how to perform sentiment analysis on stock data using natural language processing techniques. And as you guys can see, all these projects are actually quite intense. So if you guys actually click on any of them, you will find that it's around, I would say, between 2 and 3 hours of content, and they are divided into a series of tasks. We're gonna cover them in great details throughout the course, okay? All right, so let's go back to our slides and cover the key learning outcomes. So for part number 1, the idea here is to help you guys kind of navigate through all the different Python operations. So we want to learn, or we want to cover Python programming 101, just basically understand Python programming fundamentals, such as variable assignments, data types, how to do print and get operations, how to perform math operations. And next, we will master conditional statements, logical operators, and if conditions. And then we are going to cover how to perform for and while loops, how to create functions, and how to perform what we call it or use lambda expressions, and also how to deal with files. And as you guys can see here, what I tried to do is in this box, I tried to kind of highlight what are the key, I would say, learning outcomes. So these are at the end of this part, which is section 1 of the course, you guys will be able to master all these topics. And next, again, all that within part 1, we will cover data visualization. So we will learn how to leverage the power of Matplotlib and Seaborn libraries to perform data visualization in Python. And please note that these libraries are super powerful, and you guys will see that it will make our life 10 times easier. And we are going to visualize stock data, we're going to visualize text data, going to be tons of fun. And then at the end, we will learn how to essentially use famous Python libraries for data analysis. More specifically, we will leverage pandas and NumPy, and these are the 2 libraries that we are going to use throughout the course. So here are, again, the key learning outcomes. So we're going to learn variable assignments, data types, math ops or math operations, how to print and get data, lambda expressions, functions, files, pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and cover part 2 of the course. So for part 2 of the course, here are the key learning outcomes. So for part number 2 and in part number 3, we divided them into a series of projects. So for the first project, in part number 2, we will cover stocks data analysis and visualization. So we are going to understand how to use the power of Python to visualize multiple stock data, gain valuable insights such as, let's say, stock daily return, certain trends, and also calculate risk. We will also learn how to create Python functions to perform scaling and normalization. We will also learn how to create interactive plots such as histograms, line plots, distribution plots, and we're going to actually use a different library here known as Plotly Express. And as you guys will see, it's actually amazing and really powerful data visualization tool. Next, we will learn how to calculate individual stock daily returns, calculate correlation coefficients between securities, and to also calculate the risk and return as well. And again, here is a summary: interactive data visualization, risk and return calculation, create Python functions, and perform data normalization and scaling. And then at the end, we will learn how to perform correlations or calculate correlations between securities. Okay, so that's for project number 1 in part number 2 of the course. Okay, so again, we are still in part number 2, and now we are covering project number 2. So in project number 2, we will shift gears a little bit. We will learn how to perform portfolio asset allocation and statistical data analysis in Python. So before we cover the programming aspect, I wanted to give you guys kind of a background into what is the difference between stocks, bonds, exchange traded funds or ETFs, and also mutual funds. We will also learn about the concept of Sharpe ratio and how to calculate it in Python. We will learn how to calculate the portfolio daily return and risk using custom-based functions. So if you guys recall, in the previous project, we are going to learn how to calculate the daily return and risk for individual securities. Here, we are going to create a portfolio which contains many securities, like many stocks and bonds, and calculate the daily return and risk for the entire portfolio. And then next, we will learn how to do interactive data visualization using Plotly and Figure Factory. And then finally, we will learn how to calculate portfolio statistical metrics. So we'll learn about cumulative returns, average daily returns, and how to calculate volatility or standard deviation as well. And here are, I would say, a dashboard, just like a quick summary of all the key learning outcomes. So we'll learn the difference between stocks, bonds, ETFs. We'll learn about asset allocation, statistical data metrics, Sharpe ratio, and interactive data visualization. Okay, so for project number 3, we will learn about the capital asset pricing model, or CAPM for short. So we are going to understand the theory and intuition behind CAPM. We will learn how to calculate the expected return of securities using CAPM. We will understand the theory and intuition behind beta and alpha, and how to calculate beta and alpha for multiple securities in Python. And we're also going to learn the difference between defensive and aggressive securities. And here are the summary: CAPM, risk-free asset, beta, alpha, linear regression fitting, defensive and aggressive securities. Okay. For project number 4, we will learn how to perform portfolio optimization and conduct what we call it Monte Carlo simulations. And that's actually one of my favorite parts of the course. You guys will learn a lot in here. So we'll understand the theory and intuition behind Monte Carlo simulations. We're actually going to conduct Monte Carlo simulations in Python. We will perform portfolio optimization and calculate statistical metrics such as standard deviation, variance, Sharpe ratio, covariance, cumulative return, and expected return. We will also try to find the optimal portfolio allocation using sequential least squares programming, or SLSQP for short. We will also understand the concept of Markowitz efficient frontier. And finally, we will learn how to plot the efficient frontier in Python. And here are the key, I would say, learning outcomes. So Monte Carlo simulations, efficient frontier, portfolio optimization, and finally the sequential least squares programming, or SLSQP for short. Okay, and now we are going to shift gears into part number 3. So we will cover machine learning and artificial intelligence in finance. And again, as I mentioned, in this part, we are going to have 3 separate projects. The first project, we will learn how to predict future stock prices using regression and LSTM networks. So we will learn how to leverage the power of AI, ML, and deep learning, or DL for short, to perform stock prices predictions. We will learn how to train a ridge regression model in scikit-learn to predict stock prices. We will understand the theory and intuition behind long short-term memory networks, or LSTM networks for short. And please, guys, do not be intimidated if you guys don't have any experience, let's say, with machine learning or deep learning in the past. Don't worry. We are going to have, again, the detailed video explanations, tons of mini challenges along the way, and also I'm going to start from the absolute basics, okay? So I'm going to assume that you guys don't have machine learning or artificial intelligence expertise, and we're going to build, again, your knowledge from the ground up, okay? All right. Next, we will learn how to train an LSTM network to perform future stock prices prediction and assess the performance of these networks using various KPIs. We will also understand the theory and intuition behind least sum of squares techniques and understand the concept of regularization. And finally, we will understand the theory and intuition behind artificial neural networks and how to actually train them using the gradient descent optimization algorithm. And here is the summary. So we'll learn about ridge regression, deep neural networks, regularization, gradient descent, future price predictions, and recurrent neural networks. In the following project, which is project number 2 out of part number 3 of the course, we will learn how to perform what we call it unsupervised machine learning strategies. So we are going to leverage the power of data science in general to perform what we call it market segmentation. So we are going to have data about our customers that visit specific bank or deal with specific bank, and we are going to try to cluster these customers into different groups, and that's what we call it unsupervised machine learning clustering or segmentation. So we'll learn how to perform exploratory data analysis and perform data visualization. We will learn how to do feature engineering and try to fill out missing data points. We will understand the theory and intuition behind k-means clustering algorithm. We'll learn about the technique known as the elbow method. We will also learn how to apply k-means algorithm in scikit-learn to perform market segmentation. We will also learn about autoencoders, how to do dimensionality reductions, and how to build and train autoencoders using Keras. And finally, we will learn how to apply what we call it principal component analysis to perform dimensionality reduction using real-world data sets. Again, here is a summary: unsupervised learning, k-means, elbow method, autoencoders, and PCA. All right, and finally, we are going to perform stock sentiment analysis using natural language processing techniques, and that will be part 3, project 3. So we will learn how to deal with text data. So we are going to take extensive amount of data that customer wrote about specific stocks, and we will try to predict the sentiments. So simply, we are going to kind of predict based on the text data that we're going to acquire from Twitter, from various news sources. Are they bullish about specific stocks or not? Like, do they think that the market will go up or will go down afterwards? And based on that data, we can use it to perform specific trades and again buy and sell securities with a lot more informed decisions using this technique. So we will perform exploratory data analysis. We will learn how to visualize text data using word cloud visualization. We will also learn about the basics of natural language processing, and we are going to learn about how to perform what we call it tokenization and count vectorization. We will understand the theory and intuition behind LSTM networks as applied to text data, and we'll learn how to work with unbalanced data set. We will learn how to train an LSTM network to perform predictions, and finally, how to assess these networks using various KPIs such as confusion matrix, accuracy, precision, and recall. And again, here is a summary: sentiment analysis, NLP or natural language processing, deep LSTM networks or long short-term memory networks. We'll learn about embedding, confusion matrix, and classifiers KPIs. All right, okay. So that's all I have for this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, please note that I don't want you guys to be intimidated by the introduction here. I just wanted to give you guys an overview of what to expect in this course. What are the key learning outcomes? So I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture and see you in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lecture on environment setup. In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to set up Google account first, and then how to set up Google Colab. And this is simply the tool that we're going to use throughout the entire course to write our code and to open also all the Colab notebooks that I have attached in the course package. Okay, so if you guys go to Google, and I'm going to assume that you guys don't have a Google account yet. So what you need to do is to go ahead in here and to create click on create account. So you click on it, and then it will ask you to either create account for yourself or to manage a business. I'm just gonna assume that you guys will gonna create it just for personal reasons and you are just one individual. Just click on for myself, and you just need to insert here your name, your last name. So for example, I'm just gonna insert, let's say Ryan, last name Ahmad, for example. And then you need to select here a username, your password, and then you confirm your password afterwards. So here I selected Ryan Ahmed Ali Collab, for example. You guys can pick any name you want. You can select here your password. So I'm just gonna write my password here. And you need to confirm the password as well. Okay. And then you click next afterwards. You click next, and it's asking you to insert your phone number, have a recovery email address. You insert here your birthday and the gender as well. And then you click next afterwards. So I'm just gonna go ahead and complete all these steps at my end. And please go ahead and finish all these steps on your end as well. Afterwards, you should be able to agree here to all the privacy and terms, conditions here. You just click I agree, and here we go. So now you should be able to see the Gmail account open for you here. And again, if you guys click on your account name, you should be able to see whatever email address you selected. In my case here, I have again Ryan Ahmed Ali Collab at Gmail. You guys should have your own Gmail account. So what I need to do right now is I wanted to go to Udemy and download the entire zip folder that I have in my main lecture, in the introductory lectures. So if you guys go back to Udemy, if you click here on Udemy, and if you go to the first lecture, which is entitled Course Introduction, Success Tips, and Key Learning Outcomes, you should be able to find under Resources here my zip file entitled Python for Financial Analysis Course Package. So let me walk you through exactly what you need to do. So you just click on it, and then you should be able to download it. So you will find that now the file is being downloaded. It's around 28 megabytes approximately, and it should take like a couple of seconds for it to download. So let's wait until it's actually downloaded, and here we go. So now you should be able to see two folders, the zipped one and the unzipped one. So please go ahead and click on the unzipped one here. So if you double click on it, here we go. So here I have, again, as I mentioned, all the course package is contained in here. So here I have the part 1 of the course, part 2, and part 3. Part 1, as I mentioned, covers the Python programming fundamentals. Part 2 covers financial analysis in Python. And then in part number 3, we cover artificial intelligence and machine learning in finance. So if you guys go ahead and click on, let's say, part 1, here we go, you should be able to see here all basically my notebooks. So you should be able to see all the notebooks, for all the different essentially sections in here. So for example, here I have my variables, assignment, math, operation, and precedence. So here you should be able to see these two notebooks. One of them is for the skeleton notebook, and the other one is the solution notebook. And as I mentioned, the skeleton one essentially contained missing cells. So I'm going to ask you guys to open the skeleton one and start to code along with me while watching the videos. And if you guys scroll down here, you should be able to see as well all the data that we're going to use throughout the part 1 of the course. Okay, all right. So now the question is, how can I upload this data to the Google Drive that I just created? Okay, so if you guys go back here, now I have up again one more time. So now I have my Python for Financial Analysis course package. So if you guys go back to your Google, to your Gmail that you created here, if you guys remember, we just created one. And what I need to do is that I need to go to Google Apps. So you click on it, and then you go to Drive. So that's essentially my Google Drive. And actually what's really powerful about it is that when you guys create a new Google account, you should be able to have access to around 15 gigabytes of data. And here it's showing me that I only used 0 bytes of 15 gigabytes, which is obviously like great. I have free 15 gigabytes that I can leverage for the course. So all what I need to do is to essentially just take here my the data here, which is my unzipped folder. I'm just gonna take it and just move it there to my drive. Just copy it to my drive. And you will notice that here might take some time for it to run. So it will take around, let's say, 5 minutes approximately. But at the end, you should be able to have access to essentially all the codes, all the different data types, everything in there contained in your Google Drive. Okay, so I would say it took around 5 to 6 minutes approximately to upload my folder to my Google Drive. And what you guys could do right now is that you will be able to access the entire course package directly from your own Google Drive. So essentially, if you guys click here, you should be able to see part 1 of the course, part 2, and part 3. If you guys remember, part 1 covers Python programming fundamentals. And then in part number 2, we will cover financial analysis in Python. And then in part number 3, we will cover AI and ML in finance. So if you guys click on part number 1 right now, if you double click on it, here we go, you should be able to see all the Google Colab notebooks, which is what I have in here. So let me show you how to open those. So if you go to, let's say, the first notebook, which is Python 101, variables and data types, if you right click on it and you say open with, you should see here an option to connect more apps. So if you click on connect more apps, and you should be able to go up there and search for Google Colab. Just search for Colab, and then it will appear Collaboratory. You just click on it, and here we go. This is essentially the environment that we're going to use and the tool that we're going to leverage throughout the entire course. So let's go ahead and click on it, and it will ask you to install it. So let's go ahead and install it. And it's telling you it requires permission. You say continue, and you need to click on your Gmail account that you actually created. So you click on it, and it's telling you continue, looks good. And here we go. Then you click OK, you click done, and that's it. Now Google Collaboratory has been installed as an application to your Google account. So if you go ahead to Python 101 variables and data types, and if you right click and you find there is open with option, and then there is Google Collaboratory. You click on it, and here we go. Here I have essentially my Google Collaboratory open for us. And this is essentially what we're going to use throughout the entire course. So what I'm going to do in the next lecture is I'm going to walk you through each of these notebooks, how to actually write codes in there, how to even write, like all these, like what we call it, markdown cells. So let me show you guys all these details in the next lecture. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture, and see you in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to show you guys how to leverage the power of Google Collaboratory to write code, to write what we call it markdown cells or headers, as you guys can see here with the variables assignment, how to leverage the power of GPUs and also TPUs, which stands for Tensor Processing Units. And let's go ahead and just walk you through, in general, Google Collaboratory. So if you guys remember in the previous lecture, is that we have been able to upload our course package to our Google Drive. If you guys remember, we had the 3 parts, and here we have the entire course package available for us. And what we had to do is that we had to install our Google Collaboratory app, and now it has been already installed. You can just go ahead on any of these, right click on it, say open with, And now we should be able to open it with Google Colaboratory. So let me show you what do I mean by that. So if you guys can see here, now I actually opened two notebooks. The first one is the skeleton one, and the second is the solution one. So here I have, this is my skeleton, and here I have my solution. So let's go ahead and start with the skeleton one, which is what I have in here. So what you guys could do when you open a new Google Colaboratory is that you will be able to actually write code in here. So for example, I can go ahead and let's say insert code cell. So I can go ahead here and insert new code cell. So you will be able to insert code cells in here. And you can essentially write Python code right away. And again, I'm assuming that you guys haven't done any programming in the past, and that's why I'm starting here from scratch. So let's assume that we wanted to define, let's say, a variable. We call it x. So you can write x equals to, and maybe write, let's say, number 10 in there. Okay, so you're essentially putting 10 in x. So in order to run this cell, you can go ahead here. You should find an arrow indicating run cell. So you can just click on it, and you will find that now the cell right now is loading, and that's good. And now it's not loading anymore, indicating that this cell has been executed. So if you wanted to see what's inside X, you can go in a new cell, write X, and then run this cell again. And here we go. You should find that now the answer is X. What's in X is 10. That's essentially what's the feedback is. What I could do as well is maybe define another variable. Maybe I will call it Y, and maybe I will put, let's say, 5 in it, for example. So Y equals to 5. Let me zoom in a little bit. And what you guys could do is that you can run this cell. So you can run it, and you can go ahead and tell me what's in Y, for example. And you can click on it, run it again, and it's telling you that there is 5 inside Y, which makes sense. And what you could do is that maybe I can sum up X plus Y. So I can insert here a new code cell, and I can, for example, write X plus Y. And if you press Shift Enter, it will tell you that right away that the answer right now is 15. Okay, so what's really powerful about Google Colab is that you can write your code in here. You can find the outcome of the code available right away for you, which is super powerful. You can take this entire notebook and actually share it along with the actual outcome as well, whether it's a figure, whether it's a result like that, whether it's like comment like this. You can add all of it and share it with other people too, which is super powerful. So you guys can also, for example, if you want, add what we call it the text data. So for example, I can go ahead in here and maybe add, let's say, new text. So you will find that now I have a new text available here. So I can write anything I want. I can write, let's say, my first Python code. Okay, and if you press again to run this cell, you can press Shift Enter. So Shift Enter should run the cell. So if you do Shift Enter, here we go, you should be able to find that this is now a text, which means that it is not executable. So this is a code cell. This is a code cell, but this one is just text. What you could do as well is that you can move these cells up and down. So for example, if I wanted to move this text cell up, you can just click on the up arrow here to move up, move it one more time. Here we go. And what I could also do is I can go ahead and to my runtime and say, well, please go ahead and run all, which means that I can go ahead and run every single code cell in here in one shot. So you can go ahead and click runtime and say run all, and you should find that all the cells are running right now. Obviously, there's a lot of errors because this is just a skeleton file. Don't worry, in the next couple of lectures, we are going to open this notebook and I'm going to show you guys how to code along from scratch and build the entire project again together from scratch. Here, I'm just going to give you a walk through the Google Colab and what's actually going on in here. Okay. All right. So now we know how to create a code cell, how to create a new text cell, how to move cells up and down, how to maybe delete, let's say, a cell. For example, if I don't like this cell, for example, I can go ahead and say delete it. I don't want it anymore. So now you can delete it. You can go ahead and maybe delete X as well. You can too. Also, what you could do is that you can go ahead in here to my runtime. If you go to my change runtime type, and please note that we are not going to use this feature when we through part 1 and part 2 of the course, because we are going to do basic, I would say, programming. But for part number 3 of the course, where we cover the machine learning and artificial intelligence, we will need more, what we call it, compute. So we need more powerful computers to do or perform the mathematical operations. And that's why here, what's really powerful about Google Colab is that you can leverage the power of what we call it GPUs or TPUs. And simply what a GPU is, it's essentially a graphics processing unit, and it can enable us to do massive operations in a very short period of time. So that will come really handy when we learn about how to develop models for machine learning and artificial intelligence, but that will come later in the course. So you can go ahead and just leverage the GPU. You can just click on GPU, say save, and that's it. It's telling you, well, select I'm not a robot, and here we go. So now you're essentially allocating, like super powerful computer running in the background, like for you, without even having the physical hardware, without even having an actual physical GPU available in your office, for example. You can just run it from your environment here, or from your browser, which is super powerful. And please note that this is just a very quick walk through our Google Colab, how to actually insert a new code cell, how to insert text data, how to move cells up and down, and how to run the cells. That's all what I want you guys to know as we speak right now. And there are tons of other features. I'm gonna show it to you later in the course. Okay, all right. So that's all I have for this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it and see you in the next lecture.